7 Ways How Creative Thinking Can Scale Your Startup. Creativity_startups. The rise of startups has created a rise in the need for creativity in entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur is no longer seen as a conventional businessman but rather an innovator capable of making the world a better place with sustainable innovations and product development. This rise in innovation and startups has led to a culture of disruption where we products and services like never before. Creativity is not only a viable way to approach business but it also allows for the constant evolution of a business. Although there are technological means by which you can measure creativity, the task is still not easy. But you can certainly measure the growth of your company when using creative ideas. What does it mean to be creative? In the past, creativity was reserved for a certain types of individuals such as a painter, a writer or a performer. However, the nature of creative thinking has evolved in the past 2 decades, and it can determine how far a business will go. Creativity means that an entrepreneur is able to think and work beyond boundaries and limitations to take the startup to the next level. Most entrepreneurs leave the mundane reality and comfort zone of a 9-to-5 job to pursue their goals. However, it is common to fall back into old habits and settle into a daily routine rather than strategically growing the startup. Being creative means that you are aware that there is always an improvement to be made to improve your business. Creative thinking propels the startup to the next level because to create room to always consider the next step. In the startup field, your competition is always improving on their product, and this is more than enough reason to consider how creative thinking can scale up your startup. Delegate smartly. Once you have decided to work with particular people who are aligned with your mission and vision, you can find creative ways to delegate tasks. Creativity is also needed from your employees in hiring strategy. A smart workforce understands their role in further growing your startup. The way in which you hire should encourage the growth of the business. Therefore, you need individuals who are passionate and creative in their approach. This allows you to create a team that mirrors your ambitions for your business. Part of the success of startups has been credited to a workforce that is also inspired to see the brand evolve and move forward. Once your staff is in place, you can then begin to focus on assigning tasks that are not only suited to a person's position but their character and ability to fully own a task. Improved relationships with clients. At the center of your business is your client, and all your client needs are to see the value for their money. To use or buy your product, people part with money because they trust you. Creative thinking is imperative and important in this regard because it allows you to always listen to their needs and solve their problems. Approaching your product or business has immensely transformed and business has evolved to become more responsive to client needs. Above all, the client is always looking for a solution to one problem or another. Once a problem is simplified or solved, your client base will not only grow but your business becomes more preemptive about client needs. Growing beyond a niche. Most businesses thrived on a single niche market, and this narrowed down the growth of a company to a specific industry and product and/or service. This is a limited way of thinking. One of the companies that are constantly growing outside of the niche of providing an email service is Google. Google is a search engine, an email service, a video and music streaming service, has an office suite of its own, a calendar, etc. Google created a way for its clients to trust and rely on it for more than just emails. This is a clever approach and evidence of not only thinking outside of the box but beyond the limitations of sticking to a single niche. Innovative leadership. The CEOs of startups have certainly transformed what it means to be a leader in the 21st century. It is no longer about walking around with false bravado and a sense of authority instilling fear into employees. Instead, leadership is a process that inspires belief and hope from both clients and employees. Your concept, product or service can only grow through challenging employees to put their best foot forward, and you can do this by leading by example. A culture of sharing beliefs and your hopes and dreams for your startup is the exact kind of action that ensures you and your team are on the same page. There are also strategic ways to center your client around the growth strategy by assuring them you understand what they need. Stronger, smarter networking. There is nothing truer about creativity than the fact that you need to surround yourself with like-minded people. Perhaps those who have more experience than you so you can learn from their mistakes. Scaling up your business is a process of learning, not just from your own devices but the experiences of others. Networking becomes easier when you are using a creative approach to growing your business because it allows you to think beyond your limitations. In the startup industry, business relationships and partnerships can evolve into a journey of continuous learning and information sharing, creating a conducive working environment. As the saying goes, people do not leave their work, they leave their bosses, and this is evidence that the working environment needs to be conducive to positivity and productivity. The advantage of thinking creatively is that you are able to formulate a company culture that relies on innovation and collaboration. Toxic company culture can lead to a fatigued workforce that is unable to contribute to your company. Therefore, you need to strategically create a culture that allows your organization to operate on the continual motivation and growth of staff. Visionary thinking and goal setting. A startup can fall as quickly as it rises because business always carries a sense of volatility. Being able to think beyond the current phase is what allows your startup to evolve. At times, creative thinking is what brings you back from a heavy fall or failure. Being a visionary thinker makes it easier to learn from a mistake, and it encourages people to think broadly. Instead of being afraid to make mistakes, your employees should feel free to experiment and take ownership in line with your vision. Your actions should be guided by your mission and vision, and not just your bottom line. Your company's growth may be attributed to a product or service that was a great success, however, clinging onto that is dangerous. As an entrepreneur, you always have to apply your creativity to identify opportunities to grow and pivot into a new direction. The digital era comes with an ever-changing market that is always seeing a new way to fulfill their needs in a convenient and creative manner.